Talking about tolerance and liberalism, let me ask on your views on the position of women in Islam and women's role in a modern Islamic state.
I think the position of women is very strong in Islam. I think Islam does give rights to women. Not only that, it also gives hereditary rights, which a lot of non-Islamic societies do not give. Even now, if you look in a lot of Western societies, women suffer from different pay scales. Hereditary rights in many societies go either to the firstborn or whatever. In Islam, you don't have that. Women do have hereditary rights. Women are given, if not the same place, but there's certainly equality in many ways. I think also Islam, basically what you have to see is the spirit of Islam. And if you look at the Muslim world, where the societies are functioning and really in a true Islamic spirit, women find no handicaps. If you look at Pakistan, we have women can go into any sphere. We now even have women as fighter pilots. They've been inducted in the armed forces. We have women in all walks of life. We don't, the concept of different pays for different depending on gender is unknown in Pakistan. And I'm quite surprised when I find that in Europe this is a commonplace, that women are paid less than men for a number of jobs. We don't have that gender distinction in terms of where this is not to say that there is no discrimination, but the discrimination against women is not due to Islam. It is on social, retrogressive social practices, and it's not at the level of the state, it's at the level of families and society. The state does not discriminate, it's within your social environment and society, family structures. That is where we have to fight the battles. It's not at the level of the state so much. The state should push more aggressively the laws it has, but at the end of the day, if your family discriminates, the girls can't even rise beyond, their sort of, they can't achieve their right to education and having a profession and so on. So you have to fight it at that micro level, the discrimination towards women.
Well, I'm afraid to report that actually in countries like Indonesia and Malaysia and in parts of Thailand and Philippines, it seems to be retrogressing, because there's now a movement to go for the women to wear a burqa, or at least a jilbab, we call it.
But the state is not saying that. This is what I'm saying, this is society and individuals, and that is where the war has to be fought, and the state must be more assertive in fighting that battle. If anybody wants to wear the burqa, I have no problem with it. I would not.
So it's a matter of choice.
Yes, it should be a matter of choice. Just as in the West, the Europeans must allow that choice also to their Muslim citizens. So it should be a matter of choice in other societies as well. I mean, the state does not decree the form of dress. It should not. And unfortunately, you're talking about Muslim countries. Although Philippines is not a Muslim country as such, but the Muslims in the Philippines. Yes. But the Europeans are being equally restrictive. When the European states deny the choice of dress to women, they're being equally restrictive, and I think this is unfortunate. But as long as the state does not decree restrictions on dress, then I think the battle has to be fought at a non-state level.
Well, in Indonesia, where the political system is devolving into regional autonomies, now the local governments are finding that they have the authority to, for instance, establish the Sharia law, their interpretation of Sharia law. So we come to the state, or part of the state.
But then local bodies in most countries are elected. Yes, they are. So people should elect those who they feel will not bring about restrictive laws unless the majority, if they decide. Here then we have the whole debate about, okay, you want democracy, should we accept the results of democracy? So when we are voting for parties, we should be very careful what their long-term agendas are.
I think we should invite you to Indonesia, Dr. Mazari, and explain all that. On a personal note, Dr. Mazari, you have such a hectic schedule. You know, you're a columnist, you have your own program on television, and you write, you wrote a book. How do you relax and regenerate yourselves?
Oh, I relax by spending time with my children And I do actually, by and large, manage to get quality time with them, because I do not function except in extraordinary circumstances like conferences and so on. But otherwise, my office hours finish when the office hours are ended here. I do not do work or official duty after that. And I also, of course, enjoy playing music. I learn the keyboard with my children on weekends, and sports is another way of relaxing. So there are, you know, one does find the time. In fact, one has to, because my children are young and they need that time right now from me.
What kind of music do you play, and what kind of...
Oh, diverse music. I like everything from classical to our pop music to, of course, Western music, very much so. And sports, I basically swimming and tennis is what I play, but I like watching a lot of sports, especially cricket.
You like cricket?
I love cricket.
Okay. On that note, Dr. Mazari, thank you very much for your time with us.
That's all.